We are officially recording now. So, welcome in. Happy new moon. Feel free to share in the comments how you are feeling today. This is a new moon in Cancer. So, we are going to be connected to our internal waters, which are also our emotions and feelings and our creative spaces as well. So, let me know how you're feeling in the chat if you would like to share. I am feeling a little back and forth. I'm feeling a little flux flow, as Cancer moon energy could make you do. I also have a husband and a son with Cancer moons, so it's a little sensitive in the house right now. And I feel like I'm the air sign that has to like dry it up, or I'm a Capricorn moon, so I got to like ground into some of that water. But looks like Lisa's doing great tonight. Good to hear. And I will just say, I mentioned this already, the window is open for us to smudge. Also, it is July 5th. I didn't really think about that. There's going to be some fireworks because we're starting to move into dusk. So if we hear some booms and some bangs, oh well, it's just the energy at hand. And we'll imagine it clearing things out, as I just heard a boom now. Didn't think about that when I planned a moon circle. But we haven't had a moon circle here in a bit because the previous full moon in Sagittarius, that beautiful strawberry moon, I had my moon circle through Mindful Purpose Institute. And so I invited you all to join me there. And our previous moon, the new moon in Gemini, I don't know what happened, but the recording did not work out. So we weren't able to save that one. So we are recording right now. Hopefully everything will work out. And we will talk all about the new moon in Cancer. We're also going to be doing a saltwater ritual tonight. So if you don't already have it, you might want to make sure that you've got a receptacle of water, preferably some sort of glass or metal container instead of plastic, or, anything of that nature, and some salt. Gonna need some salt. Doesn't matter what kind of salt you have, just have some salt on hand. Now, I'll also make a disclaimer that we're live right now in the 13 Moons membership, but if you're watching the recording, that part of the transmission will not be on that recorded video. This is only for 13 Moons members. Cancer energy is quite emotional, as I mentioned, because of two things. Number one, it is a water sign. Number two, it is ruled by the moon. Our moon changes signs and phases every couple of days. So when we think about the sign of the zodiac that is ruled by the moon, we know that the energy of that sign is going to shift every couple of days. It is a moving energy. Water in this elemental world is movement of our life force. And so we have a lot of movement happening with our creative energy right now. You might feel very artistic. You might feel very inspired to create and expand and grow. And you also might feel sensitive or intuitive or emotional as well. It's a new moon. New moons are always a time when we also feel a little bit more emotional because gravity is stronger on Earth. We are pulled down into our earthly human chakras, those first 3 to 4 energy centers. We're pulled down into the human experience and our human emotions. And sometimes that can be very rocking to us. So you might feel very elevated. On the other hand, we have a lot of Jupiter energy under this moon, which is the planet of joy, the planet of expansion and growth and fun. It's a very jovial energy, and it also provides a lot of fortune, abundance, and luck. So however you're navigating this moon, there probably are a lot of emotions revolved around it. So just hold space for whatever is coming through. Let's talk about the elements that you would use tonight in this circle. I've noticed already from my previous teachings in Mindful Purpose Institute today that I'm channeling very fast and my words are kind of getting mixed up and I'm stumbling and stuttering a little bit. So please hold space and grace for me as I channel right now. But yes, we are going to bring in the elements for this new moon in Cancer, what you might want to work with during this new moon portal, and also during this entire Cancer season, because we have Cancer energy ruling for quite some time right now. Even when Cancer energy is over, we are still going to have the energy of the cosmic crab ruling us until we get to the new moon in Leo on the 4th of August. I'm hearing the saws, I'm hearing the locusts, I'm hearing the fireworks. There's a lot of energy out there. Sorry, I'm like hearing things in one ear and thinking about things in the other ear. I don't know if you hear it, but I do. Okay. So bringing in our elements tonight, the first elements that I would suggest working with are a few different crystals. Number one, because we are working with a sign that is ruled by the moon, you probably want to use some selenite. Selenite is named after the moon goddess Selene in Greek mythology, and selenite is the stone of the moon. And we don't want to put this in water, by the way, or it will dissolve, but it is a wonderful master crystal to help charge our energy right now. If we're feeling lower frequency, if we're feeling a little down, we could utilize some selenite to help lift us back up. So just having this around you, holding it as well. You can also use this to charge your other crystals or metaphysical tools because it doesn't need any charging itself. I have this big giant selenite egg. I've brought this into several transmissions before, but we have Cancer here present, and Cancer is the sign of the mother, the child, and the womb or the egg. And it represents this potential of creation that we can bring forth out of the waters. If you have any egg-shaped crystal right now, you could also work with those to represent the new beginnings of the new moon and also this cosmic womb energy that is playing out with the astrology of the moon. We also have moonstone tonight in our transmission. I have a peach moonstone sphere. I have a black moonstone sphere. A little bit different with the energies, but they both represent that lunar light and lunar energy coming through right now. Of course, this peach moonstone, just like regular moonstone, will amplify your energy, charge you, and charge anything else you have. I have this little peach selenite wand here tonight too. And this also enhances creativity. Whenever we use moonstone, especially black moonstone, we are going to be tapping within, turning within, keeping our energy inward. So if you're feeling distracted on the external and you need to turn more within, maybe some black moonstone in your life. I also have this in the transmission tonight because it's very busy in the outer world, and I want us to try to be focused here as much as possible. Rainbow moonstone is another wonderful version of this gemstone that you can utilize. It contains both black and white colors representing that shadow and light of the moon, and it gives off a rainbowy hue or sheen or shine. I don't know if you can see any of that coming through right now with the light, but if you're ever looking at this in real life, you can just shine it under a light and it'll give off kind of a prismatic or rainbow reflection. This can help us to balance our chakras, as in all of the chakras, because we're bringing in that rainbow concept. Also helps to open up your crown chakra, and it helps with your sacral chakra in regards especially to creativity, but also dealing with the harmonization of both your shadow and your light side. This moon is very much about integrating the both and masculine, feminine, dark, light, and sunstone would be another great stone to work with right now because of that. New moons are also a time when the sun and the moon are conjunct. So if you need a little bit of amplification right now, or if you need to believe in your growth and your abundance and everything coming your way, maybe you bring in a little bit of sunstone to support your solar plexus and help you to continue to show up. Finally, as the motorcycle goes by, I would suggest working with Pearl tonight. Pearl is the actual earthy element of Punarvasu. I have such a problem with saying this one. Punarvasu Nakshatra. That's our Vedic astrology of the moon. It's represented by a pearl. So you might want to have pearls in some way in your life. I'm wearing my mother of pearl wristlets here. I've got some rude Russian pearl in my necklace. I've got a pearl mala as well. We got fireworks popping off in the background. The pearl mala, I wear that to remind me of my femininity and my creativity, but pearls in general also remind you of the beauty that comes out of challenge or friction or tension. Pearls are produced because the oyster is irritated by a grain of sand, and then it forms up this calcification around it. And that's how we end up with the pearl. Thinking about stones, diamonds, all of that is produced under pressure and time and immense transformation. So if you're going through transformative times right now, you might want to bring some pearl into your life to remind you that beauty is on the other side. You just have to keep pushing through. Bringing in our smudging element now. I have some white sage here. I've got it in my abalone shell in the theme of ocean things with this Cancer sign. And I'm going to combine this with the element of fire so that we can start to produce our element of wind or smoke. And I'll mention I've already smudged once today, so it'll be very interesting to see where this smoke now goes in our transmission. I always like to pay attention to the smoke in a form of divination to see how much smoke is produced. If it's a lot, it means there's a lot of cleansing that needs to happen. If it's a little, it means not a lot of cleansing needs to happen and we're pretty pure. I also like to pay attention to the direction of the smoke to see if it's going to you, to me, to somewhere else. Right now, it's just kind of going up and out. I am going to smudge myself because I've had interaction since my last time I smudged. And I'm also going to smudge our technology that we're using to connect and also you. So you can receive the smoke and cleanse as well. And hopefully once the smoke burns out, we will shut the window. Try to buffer the sound just a little bit. Water is another wonderful element to work with right now. And I always suggest drinking a lot of water underneath the new moon because it will help to flush you out. It will help to reset your systems. It will help to purify you. You might want to take a nice long hot shower or bath right now. Salt water will be very powerful right now. So you may be taking a salt bath, taking a dip in the ocean, getting salt water into your life in some way as well can be really magical. But utilizing aromatherapy is one of my favorite ways to use the elements and use the element of water. Now, I say use the elements because it brings all of them in. You have your earth element of the plant, tree, whatever it was that the oil was harvested from. You have your fire because it's collected through steam distillation. You have your water because it is in liquid form. You have your air or wind because this is aromatherapy. We inhale, we smell it. It works with our olfactory system. And then also ether because oils work with our limbic system, which is our emotion, memory, and mood, which is more of those ethereal spaces. So when you use aromatherapy, you bring in all 5 elements. I would suggest working with peppermint right now, number one, because it's hot, it's summertime, and peppermint is very cooling. It's also an oil that helps to bring up things that are stuck. This is the oil of buoyancy with our emotions. So if you have trapped emotions, suppressed emotions, stuck feelings right now, peppermint can help bring them through. You can simply smell it, or you can maybe have a couple of diluted drops rubbed around your heart space or your stomach space. Also really good to support digestion if you need to digest and metabolize some of your emotions. If peppermint is too strong, then I would suggest working with lavender. Now, peppermint I also wouldn't use with littles under the age of 6. It's just too strong for their systems. Lavender you can use at any point in life, but you want to heavily dilute your oils no matter what. Lavender is very gentle, but it also helps you to relax. It helps you to soften. It helps you to open up to more of those internal spaces. We also have lavender and peppermint together, combining to be the 2 most powerful muscle relaxing oils. Cancer is known as the cosmic crab. They have a hard shell, but they do have mush on the inside. We all have mush on the inside, but sometimes we have those hardened shells. So if you're feeling physical tension in your body right now, it might be connected to a locked up emotion or a suppressed feeling. Maybe using some diluted lavender and peppermint combined as like a muscle oil or in any of those tense spaces that might help to open up and relax and release the energetic thing that's trapped as well. Speaking of muscle relaxing oils, pink pepper is also great to throw in your massage oil blends. You will only need 1 drop and you will need to heavily dilute because pink pepper is a hot oil, a warming oil. And you certainly want to use this on your mucosal membranes. I like to use pink pepper as well for addiction. This is one that I suggest clients use when they're trying to overcome addictions. Cancer is a water sign. Water energy is very emotional. And a lot of times, water signs and water energy has a tendency to lean into addiction to help suppress, numb, avoid whatever it is. And we know that that's not healthy. This is also summertime, a time when we socialize more, when we tend to partake in libations and consumables a little bit more. We also have a holiday weekend right now underneath this new moon. So if you are consuming addictive substances and you're not holding moderation, then you might want to use pink pepper. You can just smell it. That's a really easy way to kind of like cut those cravings. Also, if you're trying to go through a detox, smelling pink pepper will help with that. I've also known people that are trying to quit smoking to utilize pink pepper to smell it, and that seems to help them too. So, just a little suggestion. And then finally, I would suggest working with vanilla. I have Madagascar vanilla here, but you could work in any form of pure vanilla. This is one that makes you feel at home. It helps to harmonize your energy. It helps to move you out of your heart. It's a very softening oil. It's going to make you feel nurtured and comforted like a mother energy or a home energy. Cancer is the sign of the home. It represents our nurturing maternal energy as much as it does home space. Think about not only your own home, but maybe your grandmother's home. It seems like that mother energy is always relatable to the home. So if you're trying to create an inviting atmosphere right now or more of a safe, comfortable space, you might want to diffuse some vanilla. If you're trying to come back home to yourself, if you're trying to get softer within, maybe you smell vanilla. This one's also one that you can use, you can ingest, you can use orally. So you could put like a drop in your tea or your coffee or whatever you're cooking with as well, or baking with. I like to put it in my smoothie sometimes. So we have our earth elements. We have our wind and smoke that's still burning a little bit. We have our fire. We have our water. We have the ether, the fifth element, which is where we're connecting. And all of this other magic will move through the ether to you, no matter where you are, because that is the magic of that element. It is going to move beyond physical location, beyond time. And even if you tune into a recording of this transmission, you'll still receive the energy of these elements no matter what. So I'd like to take a moment to call in the guides and guardians of the 5 directions to really seal our circle and make it a safe space. I'm going to do that now, and you can join me if you would like. I'll start by inviting in the guides and guardians of the East with their element of air, moving through this purifying smoke from our smudging stick right now, but also reminding us of new beginnings, fresh starts, and how we always have a new dawn or new day to begin again. We thank the guides and guardians of the East with their air for being in our circle. We also invite in the guides and guardians of the South with their element of fire, burning strongly to ignite our internal tapas, drive, and will. We also know that that fiery sun is conjunct with the moon right now, helping us to find the internal flames and fan them. We thank the guides and guardians of the South with their fire for being in our circle. We also invite in the guides and guardians of the West with their element of water. Moving through now with this watery Cancer moon, with Neptune and Saturn retrograde in Pisces. There is a lot of water energy present right now, and we embody it. We allow it to help us to go with the flow more and release any stuck feelings. We also move it through our vortexes of creativity. We thank the guides and guardians of the West with their water for being in our circle tonight. We invite in the guides and guardians of the North with their earthly elements, magical tools, guidance from our ancestors, all of it relative tonight in our circle, and we thank you for being present. Finally, we invite in the Akash, the ether, the fifth element, source energy, source consciousness, and all that is related. We invite in whatever messages we need to receive, and we thank you for being in our circle tonight. I've got to clear my throat because this smoke is just, it's like coming up and going out and coming up and going out. And it doesn't surprise me because it's 4th of July time, right? Like Independence Day was yesterday. We've got this energy that's really chaotic right now with the fireworks and the Friday night holiday weekend. So I have no doubt that's why this smoke just continues to burn a little bit. We'll see where it takes us over time. So our circle is officially sealed, safe, complete, welcoming, and inviting. If there's anything you'd like to put in the chat, feel free to put it in there. If you have any questions about this new moon, feel free to put that in the chat as well. Let's talk a little bit about Cancer energy in general. I've mentioned that it's a sign of the home, it's a sign of the mother, it's also the sign of the womb and the child. All three must exist with the other. We can't have the child without the womb or the mother. We can't have the mother without the womb or the child. We can't have the womb without the mother or the child, if you get my drift. So when we have this energy coming into play underneath a new moon, we're reminded of our fertility. We're reminded of what we're able to create, and we're reminded of potential growth that is just hanging and waiting for us to grasp onto right now. This is not only the physical womb, but the energetic womb. So first off, this is going to be very relatable to mother energy. If you have a mother wound or a strained relationship with your own mother, that might come up right now. If you are feeling wounds from becoming a mother, if you have birth trauma from laboring and birthing your child, that might come up right now. If you have physical wounds on your womb, if you're a female with a womb space and you're dealing with actual physical issues or dealing with health problems there, that might come up right now. And also, we all have a creative womb space, an energetic womb, a sacral chakra. We might feel creative blocks right now or emotional blocks. All of this can happen when we're underneath this Cancer moon. Part of this is because Cancer energy has a tendency to shell and harden up. It's containing the mush. It wants to keep everything within and not seem so vulnerable. So as much as all of this stuff might be coming up right now, there also might be a need to suppress it. Sun and moon are currently square right now, and they're squaring off with Chiron, our wounded healer in Aries, the sign of the cosmic child. So we have Sun and Moon, and actually Venus, by the way, all in Cancer. And then they're creating this challenging energy with Chiron. Also creating a square with the MC that's opposing the North Node right now in Aries. So we are in a challenging dynamic underneath this new moon where we want to grow, we want to expand, we want to become more mature, we want to gain more knowledge and wisdom and craft and skill. But this other part of us is a little bit afraid, or maybe programmed to have a limiting mindset, or maybe we have some wounds that are holding us back from being able to seize that. Or maybe we simply just don't want to look within. We want to avoid our shadows. We want to avoid our feelings. Anything could happen right now. We could feel a lot of elation over what we have already conceived or grown, or we might start to harvest some of the plantings of our efforts from the previous months and the previous seasons. And we also have an ability right now to explore and be in kind of like a childlike wonder. I watched Willy Wonka, the new Willy Wonka, with my child and my husband last night. And it really put me into that childlike sense of wonder, making us want to have more of an imagination and be more playful and be more in that anything is possible type of mindset. When we're in our childlike innocence, we're in full acceptance of ourself. We think that we can do anything. And we also love ourselves just as we are, mistakes and all, because that's what our mother should be doing with us. But that's typically what is modeled in the parenting world. We're loved unconditionally. And then something happens as we get older when we move away from that and move out into society. So just for now, underneath this new moon where it's darker and we're being asked to turn more within, can you mother yourself? Can you love yourself unconditionally? Can you self-accept? Can you believe that you are complete just as you are? Because it takes both sides of ourselves in order to actually create and expand. Think about conception of humankind, just down to the basics of it. We have to have that masculine and feminine energy. We have to have the male and the female. We have to have the sperm and the egg. We have to have both. When we are working in our creative processes of our chakras and our energy body, we are also integrating our male and female energy. And we are accepting ourselves as both. So this moon is about accepting both sides of ourselves, our shadow and our light, our internal and our external, all phases of our lunar self, all phases of our solar self. And the sun and moon are conjunct to also remind us of that. I also want to mention a couple of other cosmic transits that are happening right now. I already did a little bit. Saturn and Neptune are both retrograde in Pisces right now. Saturn is the planet of karma, life lessons, father time. Retrograde in Pisces means that we are turning within to our emotions and our creative expression, and we're tending to that, or we're not tending to that. If we don't tend to it, there's going to be some karmic repercussions. If we do tend to it, there's going to be some karmic repercussions. You get to decide. Neptune in retrograde in Pisces connects us to the other side, connects us to the magic, connects us to our dreams, connects us to what's wanting to come up out of our waters and make itself known in the world. Both of these energies being in Pisces encourages us to also use all of this creative expression and this patience and time to transform, transmute, and change, maybe turn into our own pearl or gem or diamond. A lot of times we meet this lunar cycle, which is over the halfway point of the year, and we get a little bummed. We think the year's almost over. We start thinking about everything else, the end of summer, the end of the year. But this Neptune retrograde and the Saturn retrograde also go towards the end of the year. And Cancer energy right now reminds us that we still have so much potential. We have a lot of expansion that can take place. We have a lot of imagination and idea that can still come through. And we have a lot of energy supporting us in the waters to actually create it and make it happen. But we do have to put our efforts towards it and our beliefs towards it in order to make it so. Let's shift over for just a moment to the eastern side of the world. By the way, this smoke is still going. I'm kind of blown away at this right now. And like I said, I smudged before and it burned out. It's going directly up and out. It's not going to you or me. So it's clearly just going out to the external, but it's interesting. Let's go over to the Vedic side of the world. This moon is in the lunar mansion of Punarvasu Nakshatra. Please forgive my Sanskrit. This is a lunar mansion that is found within the constellation of Gemini, and it represents Greek twin energy as well. And it's reminding us to, again, harmonize both sides. Punarvasu Nakshatra is ruled by Aditi, which is the mother of the gods, and also ruled by the planet Jupiter, which is our cosmic body of expansion, joy, fortune, and abundance. When we bring in this energy into a new moon, we are reminded that we are vortexes of ever expanding creation, and we should always be expanding and growing to our joy. We can also consider that this lunar mansion is represented by a quiver of arrows. Arrows represent support, focus, regeneration, hope, positivity, goal getting, and goal seeking. So right now, this moon says, hey, even though we're halfway through this year, there's still a lot to be gained. There's still a lot to be received. There's a lot to believe in. But we have to take aim with our arrows of intention, focus our energy on the target, and follow through by taking action. By the way, notice how this is almost like a Sagittarius energy. That's because moons in Vedic astrology are always going to be one sign behind. So our previous moon was in this Gemini Sagittarius mix between the new moon and the full moon. But in Vedic astrology, we're still there a little bit. But it doesn't really matter what side of the world you're on, right? Because it's all about nurturing our dreams, nurturing ourselves, tending to our energy, coming back home, finding where we are safe and supported to grow and expand. So we have to use this new moon to make space for that. This is where I want us to do our practice tonight, our saltwater practice. Since the smoke is going to go out to the window, I'm just going to move it over there so it's not like choking me out. We're going to do our saltwater practice now for those of you that are live here in the 13 Moons membership. If you're watching a replay, this will cut to the tarot reading after this. But if you're here live, know that our tarot reading is next. This is a very simple practice. You know that I'm into practical magic, and we'll get into deeper magic over time here in the membership. But this is a very simple, practical magic procedure, practice, whatever ritual that you want to call it, in order to release your trapped emotions. So I hope that that serves you underneath this new moon. Feel free to do that as much as you need to in this Cancer season or this Cancer lunar cycle to continue to release if more things come up over time. Let's do our tarot reading and talk about what the cards had to say about this moon and this lunar cycle and everything going on right now. For the past, I pulled 9 of Cups. It's got a beautiful peacock on it. You got 2 cups up there by the moon, crescent moon with a lotus flower, flowers below. Anytime we have cups energy, we're dealing with emotions, we're dealing with our intuition, sensitivities, our creative vortexes, sacral chakra, all of the energy that we're dealing with right now in a Cancer new moon. If there could be a Cancer moon card, I think the 9 of Cups would be pretty relatable. 9 represents the conception portal of humankind, that 9 months in, 9 months out. And it also reminds us of our beauty once we learn to break open and spread our wings. So if you remember in our previous moon, the previous full moon, the cards were all about celebrating and rejoicing in what we had gained and showing gratitude for that. And this is a very similar card. The 9 of Cups wants us to see the pearls that we've acquired out of the tough times. It wants us to be reminded that there's always going to be a beautiful life lesson and an ability to grow and expand on the other side of the toxicity that you're navigating. The peacock can eat poison and not get sick. So this reminds us that we're going to be okay from these things that we're dealing with, and eventually we'll come out on the other side, feeling very fruitful, feeling like we're in a much more beautiful, creative, magical life. Present card was the World card, and the World is our last card in the major arcana. It represents endings and beginnings. Definitely a new moon type of card, definitely a new moon in Cancer type of card. This also reminds me of the Vedic astrology of this moon being in that Punarvasu Nakshatra, represented by Jupiter and the mother god Aditi, the mother of the gods. You see this big expanding sun and these fireflies all around and this big bright bumblebee. This is reminding us of the growing sweetness and nectar of life that we're always here to grab. This also makes me think of the Amrita, the actual nectar of the moon that comes down to support our fruitful, magical lives. And these fireflies all around remind us of the glimmers, because Cancer season is a time of triggers. We've been in kind of a triggering time for months now, and it's not going to lighten up anytime soon. But amongst all those triggers you receive, can you also look at the glimmers that come your way? The little magical moments, the little things to be grateful for, the little signs that show you're loved and supported and on the right path. If we pay attention to those, our world is going to be so sweet and fruitful and expanding and abundant and fortunate. But we have to be able to take action towards that frequency, towards embodying a more uplifting perspective. So if you need to, under this new moon, spend time in reflection, be grateful of all that you've gained, look at what you've harvested, and let that be a motivator for you to continue to do your hard work like the bumblebee, to continue to create that honey moving forward. Finally, for the future card, I pulled the Strength card, and I like this version from the Guardian of the Night Tarot because it involves a snake and a mouse versus the typical person holding the mouth of a beast or a woman holding the mouth of a lion. We have a mouse who is resisting the urge to run away, resisting fear, and leaning in to being stronger. We also have the snake that is resisting temptation to eat the mouse and is leaning into the cultivation of control and moderation. Strength always reminds us that we have choice to continue down one way or go down a different path, a path that is more harmonious with our heart and our truest spirit. Look at the heart in between the snake and the mouse. Also notice how there's poppies all below. These are flowers that represent peace after war. This snake and this mouse know that if they can stand strong and they can resist their temptations and they can stay in control of their energy, that they will perpetuate peace for humankind moving forward. Every time we work on ourselves to have better harmony, to get rid of the things that are holding us back, every time we lean into the trust that we are magical, creative beings, the universe shows up and creates a magical world for us. When we create internal peace, there is external peace, and there is less conflict with those that we had challenges with before. This also reminds me to stay hopeful amongst any conflict or challenges that I may have, because I know if I continue to prioritize peace within myself, that eventually those conflicts will also subside and I can have a more peaceful life overall. That is our reading for tonight, loves. I hope you find relevancy in it. I hope it means something to you underneath this new moon. I hope it provides guidance for this Cancerian lunar cycle. We're coming up on our hour. I've got such an itchy face. I'm sorry, I keep itching myself today, but I've been outside and I think all the fireworks smoke, they have a lot of heavy metals and stuff, and I'm allergic to some of that stuff, and I'm just feeling my allergies today. But thank you for showing up on this Friday night on a holiday weekend. I know it's not always easy to show up to these circles, so I appreciate your time. I don't see any questions or anything coming through right now, so I think we can go ahead and complete our circle and let our guides and guardians go and dismiss. If you want to join me, you can. I'm just going to take a moment to settle in. Take a deep breath. And I want to start by releasing our guides and guardians of the fifth element, the Akash, the ether. Thank you for bringing in the messages that we needed to receive tonight and the guidance that we needed to hear. We also release the guides and guardians of the north with their earth element, all of the magic that we bring in tonight with our tools, the wisdom of our ancestors. We appreciate it all being here in our circle. We also release the guides and guardians of the west with their element of water, flowing strongly with this Cancer new moon. May it remind us of the future ahead and the ability to lean into the flow with ease. We also release the guides and guardians of the south with their element of fire, burning strongly with the solar amplification of the summer season and the conjunction of the sun and moon together. Also creating these angles with Aries energy right now, helping us to have the drive to show up to heal our inner child and our internal wounds. Finally, we release the guides and guardians of the east, element of air, giving us new opportunities with this new moon to always begin again. With that, our circle is officially released and done. I appreciate you being here. The smudge, I want to show you. It's just burning now, and it's just going outside, which cracks me up because y'all know it's Independence Day weekend. There's a lot of smudging that needs to go on right now, but there's a lot of political conversations happening right now. But I'm going to be done with our circle. I'm going to put this smudge over by the window, and I'm going to probably just put it out because I think it could burn all night long. It just makes me laugh because not even an hour, 2 hours ago, I smudged and it burned out within like a few minutes. So it's getting darker. More energy is building and more fireworks are about to pop off. So I'm not surprised. We will meet again on Sunday, the 21st. That is when we will have our virtual full moon circle representing the blue moon in Capricorn. Yes, we have another full moon in Capricorn. We're going to talk about that. And we also have a new moon circle coming up at the beginning of August. So I'll put all this information in 13 Moons. You'll also see some more information in the 13 Moons membership. I'm adding in some new goodies all about, you know, the astrology of the times, including these retrogrades and some intuitive journaling sections and some other information to help you navigate what's going on in the cosmos. But until we meet again, wherever that is, Loka somasta sukino bhavantu. May we all be happy, healthy, joyful, peaceful, well, healthy, safe, and loved. May our actions, intentions, and behavior contribute to the happiness, the health, the wellness, the safety, the peace, the joy, and the love of all. And so it is. And so it is. And so it is. Blessed be to all.